Go. And we're live. What's going on, everybody? We got a special one today. Not only are we joined by Mr. Brennan Duncan, he's like a ninja back there. We never see him on screen, but he's here today. We're super happy to have him on. Co-founder, good friend of mine. You know, we go way back, so you guys will hear a little from Brennan today, the head of growth. And we also have Frank here as well, our technical product manager. So super excited to have him here as well. But more importantly, above everything and any introduction I could do today, we've dropped the OSSA.AI Studio Beta. And we're super excited to obviously showcase that to you guys. I know that we have a very special community member, James Ward, and his community here as well that's going to be tuning in. So super excited to chat with you guys and show off the studio. But, you know, before we hop into that, I'm sure you guys already know my voice and because I'm on this every single week. But I want to give the opportunity for Brennan to talk a little about himself, his background. For anyone who doesn't know Brennan, him and I are the original co-founders of OSSA. And from there, I guess I'll just take it away, Brennan.
Yeah, appreciate it. Absolutely. Appreciate it. What's up, everybody? My name is Brennan Duncan. For those of you that don't know me, like Cole said, him and I go way back. We've been working on this for, it feels like almost 3 years now, every day, from the time the sun comes up to the time the sun goes down. And so a little bit about myself. I'm a lifelong entrepreneur. My entire adult life, I've been an entrepreneur, just starting businesses, doing different things. I've done about every aspect of, you know, make money online and just digital marketing, everything across the board from, you know, starting in my young years of drop shipping, going all the way to building a SaaS company that's going to change millions of lives. And so definitely a seasoned entrepreneur, learned a lot along the way in regards to digital marketing and just how to get people to the thing and make sure that the experience is really good for the people that make it to the thing. And so, yeah, my role here at OSSA is the head of growth, co-founder. I wear a lot of hats, but the primary role that I'm settling into is the head of growth. So if you have any suggestions or any feedback for the product, I'm definitely the person to email and I can get it over to the team and we can look over everything. But that's a little bit about me. I won't take too much time. Frank, I'll pass it over to you. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, so hey guys, it's Frank. Been on the live stream before. Just really excited. We've been working really hard on all this before. Again, met Cole and Brennan and just absolutely love the project. It was like so amazing. And now it's, you know, to the point where it's like, you know, one of the founders, very excited, right? So we've been constantly improving stuff. This new release that we're about to drop it's amazing. We're seeing already people are starting to use it. You know, again, any feedback you guys have, send it to Brennan. Brennan will send it to me. So I'll do the implementation. And like I said, my background is in media companies. I've created some of the largest apps in the world. You've probably used one of my video streaming apps on mobile. And now we're taking all that talent over to this new thing, the world of AI. It's improving constantly. We just implemented a bunch of new features, and as the feature got implemented, something new came out, right? So it's going to be constantly evolving. We look forward to getting any feedback from the community. Again, continual improvement. Reach out to us, any kind of features you guys want to see, because it's all about you guys. It's our users are our passion. So yeah, we're super excited and can't wait to chat with you guys more.
Yeah, thanks so much, everyone, for the introductions, and super happy to have everyone here. This is a pretty special one. But yeah, before we kind of dive into studio, I think it's a really good opportunity, since we're probably going to have a lot more eyeballs on this one, to kind of lay kind of the foundation of kind of where we started and where we're headed. Because I get asked a lot kind of where we plan to take OSSA. And I think a big part of this is going to be the studio, which we're going to show in a second. But I think it's like super important for whoever is kind of using our thing or interested to kind of know like who's behind it. And the reality is like we're pretty much polar opposite of what you would expect in the tech AI space. Like Brennan and I aren't from LA. Like we don't have VC funding, you know, like we kind of just were like, hey, we want to do this thing. And we were two young guys who had a vision, right? My background's in content creation, around 7 million followers, 4 billion short form views. And there's this one day where I just called Brennan. I'm like, hey, bro, there's a huge story behind it. But I was always like, hey, bro, I think we can go and build this AI thing that is going to be really powerful, because we saw some voices on, you know, we saw some 11 Lab voices on some videos, and we're like, I think we could do something here. And Brennan thought I was crazy, because at that point, 2.5 years ago when we started, we had zero tech background, like at all. Brennan had a little more than me. But for anyone who doesn't really know, like we've actually been working on OSSA for the past, 2.5 years at this point, which is crazy to say out loud. And, Brennan and I definitely went through a lot of struggles. He sold his car along the way. There's been a lot of ups and downs, but, we're super happy to finally get to market, 7 months ago. And then we ran into Frank, and that's actually how Frank ended up here. And I know he didn't talk too much about that, but I was just in a Discord call showing off the product, and he ended up making a video, and his first video did 25,000 views on TikTok. And he's, no offense to Frank, he's not a content creator, right? But he is now. So his video blew up, and that was kind of what got him involved. But yeah, I mean, in terms of kind of where we're headed, I think, as we'll kind of talk about Studio, and I'll probably, let Brendan and Frank talk about what, how Studio really came to be, because a lot of it was based off of, Brennan, setting up systems and communicating with a lot of our users. And then obviously Frank being super involved. So I think it'd be cool to have them talk a little bit about it as I kind of get everything set up and show you guys really what Studio means. Because I think, if people are wondering about where we kind of headed as a company and what can you expect as someone who's using our platform, I think like Studio encompasses exactly where we're headed. So maybe Frank or Brendan, if you guys kind of want to talk a little bit about maybe how we even got to Studio, because obviously it's a pretty big feature.
For sure. I'll definitely give my insight on it, and then Frank can take a more technical approach. So I'll just back up a little bit before I dive into that and just talk about kind of the inception of OSSA and when it came to be. And I just remember very specifically this phone call. Cole and I had built the entire business off of something else, and we had this different vision. And Cole called me and said, "Hey, listen, I think we should scrap it and we should do the impossible." Effectively, that's how my brain remembers it. And I remember just like laughing out loud, like, dude, it's not possible to create a software that can just generate videos out of thin air that are optimized to get engagement on social media with no user input other than words. Like, that's not, like, listen to yourself. It's not possible. And he said, it is, and I'm going to prove it to you. And we sat down and he just kind of mapped out what his brain was thinking. And then I saw it and I was like, you know what, man, you might be onto something here. And then just piece by piece, we just built the thing and got to where we are now, which is, over 85,000 users, and just changed so many lives. And so many people went from never being able to create content to getting hundreds of thousands of views. Frank's experience isn't unique, of uploading his first video and being like, wow, I got 25,000 views. My mother, for example, she can't work her way around her own iPhone, and she's able to go into OSSA and generate videos for a dog page that she does. And she gets views and comments, and like, she's just so excited about it and so happy. And if she can do it, I promise everyone can do it. I love her. So yeah, I'll just segue over into Studio. So one thing that we saw, we're really, really big on customer feedback and listening to our customers. Customer success is the number one most important thing to us. We are not in the business of, hey, come subscribe to OSSA and then forget about your subscription, and then we'll just keep billing you for months and months and months. That's not the customer that we want. We want the customer that comes in and gets value out of the product, is using the product to achieve what we built the product for, because the product that we built is so unique in its own right that it can actually solve a problem that people really have that can't be solved anywhere else. And so when it came to the product, one thing that we saw as a limiting factor was somebody's ability to change out different aspects of a video to add that creator touch to it. One thing we're really big on is making sure that people still have the power of creativity and letting AI just do the busy work, but the human actually maintains the creative aspect and input into a video. And Studio just enhances that so much. Studio allows you to go in and change images or fix subtitles if subtitles are off, and in the future it can do so much more. But for right now, just the ability to go in and change images to be more in line with the context that, of the initial script, that the context you were going for in that initial script, it is so impactful from a user perspective. And so we just listened to the customers. The customer said, hey, listen, we want this. And we set out on a mission to build it. It started with just a wireframe of, hey, it might be able to look like this, and this is a way that it could work. And then Frank and Jaden and Justin came in and said, okay, well, we can map this out and make this actually technically feasible. And so, Frank, I'll pass it over to you in that regard.
Yeah. So again, we have a lot of stuff in this new Studio update. So we have brand new image generation features. So as you guys have heard, Flux is like the new hotness. Stable Diffusion is old school. Mid-Journey, never heard of you. We put all the new, brand new stuff into it. Brand new version of Flux. It's all, the entire backend has been improved. You're able to, the most important thing that we saw, again, as what Brennan was saying, a lot of users want to fine tune. They want to get to the point where their video is perfect. And perfection is the way you want it, right? So we added all the features in Studio, and we're going to show you guys in a minute. You can redo images, you can change the subtitles, make sure that it works for exactly for what you're trying to do, because that way it is yours. We get you started, but you take it to the last little polish, right? So tons of work that we did there, tons of stuff in the back end. Again, we won't get too much into it because that's the secret sauce, so we can't really let that go. But we're using Flux, we're using all the brand new stuff, and we're just crushing it. And we want to do right by the users. We want to make sure everybody has a great time. That's why the flow looks a lot cleaner, a lot easier to edit, and it's groundbreaking, right? It's like, I don't say that too often, but once you see the actual product like actually being done, the difference is night and day. The competitors or anyone else like that, like, they can't even touch this stuff. This is all brand new, and we're just really, really excited. Again, all the technical work is fantastic, but at the end of the day, it has to work for you, for the user, and that's why we're super excited about this new Studio release.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Let me
Brennan,
just add one thing on there, Cole, really quick. So I think when it comes to video editing, it has a stigma to it where it just seems so complicated, and you think about multiple layers and multiple tracks and timelines and audio and trying to balance everything. And one thing that we are really, really big on is simplification and simplifying that entire process. So when it comes to overcomplicating the editing process, that's not something that we're in the business of. And so that's why it's called Studio and not OSSA.AI editing, or timeline or tracks. We really took an approach of how can we make this as simple and as effective as humanly possible, where anybody can come in without even reading help documentation or having a proper understanding of how it works and look at it and say, okay, I get this. I can do this. This is pretty easy. And so, even though it's, you're going in and editing certain aspects of the video, just look at it in a sense of, you're just fine tuning little things inside the studio, because it truly is just more of a fine tune than an edit, because we've removed that complexity and brought in and introduced this simplification. So yeah, over to you, Cole.
No, absolutely. It's so well said. And kind of just to piggyback off of that, I started sharing screen, as you guys can see here. If you're not familiar with the platform, we want, like Brennan said, our core value internally in terms of product is just making it super simple. I've created content for over, half decade, 5,000 plus videos. And the thing that I don't miss is editing on a timeline, right? And all the complexity. And I made a post about this earlier on LinkedIn. And it's like, if you look at Adobe Premiere and Filmora and Splice, right? It's like the timeline is slowly becoming less relevant, because I'm not a video editor. Chances are you're probably not a video editor, and no one wants to spend these years having to learn these things, right? So our core thing is, how do we make stuff just very simple? How do we just allow you to create and lower the barrier to entry? We're actually not trying to just attract people that are already creators. We're actually creating a brand new market of people, the 99% of people that are not a creator. So if you're watching this and you're like, well, I'm not a creator, you actually are. You've just never been given the tools to actually do so. And OSSA is attempting, and successfully attempting, to be that tool for someone who said, I've never been a creator, because everyone wants to create something. We know this, Brennan and I know this, because we started way back, 2 years ago, building out a Discord community before OSSA. And we talked with thousands of people, and everyone wanted to create content, but everyone failed because they didn't know how to use a video editor, and they didn't. So that is kind of like a core thing for us. I just really want to hit on that. Now, when we talk about this update, right, and what's kind of new, I want to go through a couple things, and then we'll move right into the studio, and I'll show you guys how these things are working. Now, first things first, as you guys know, here's your voice. This is essentially the voice that reads over your script, right? So a script in a short form video, we do short form videos, vertical videos, the ones you see on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, right? The script is simply just what is going to be spoken by the voice, right? So if we pick a voice, let's say we scroll down and we're going to do Val, right? Cool. Val, you can see that he has some tags here. You can also play it to preview his voice. And then coming here, you have styles. We actually added, I believe, around 20 to 25 new styles. So as you kind of click through, you're able to see the different styles, which is really cool. We updated these preview images to better represent the actual style. That one's really cool. For this one specifically, I'm going to go to the horror film, because I'm going to do kind of a more creepy one. And this is actually a script that one of our users put in inside of the showcase, which I'm not going to show that right now. Maybe maybe Frank can talk a little bit about that because he had a pretty big role in that. But you can see here, right, we got a horror film. And then for the font, we're going to go for something kind of more, let's see what we can do here. Let's go for creepy, right? So here's a script, right? So there's really two ways to do scripting. Pretty straightforward. You could either generate with AI, which we have a tool, free GPT you can use, takes you through a step-by-step process, or you can just write it out. So it's like if you can type text, you can create a video is essentially what we're saying here, right? So then obviously you're going to want to save your default settings. So these are your video settings, right? If you're brand new to content creation, maybe you also, want to adjust this to be red so it's a little bit more creepy. And I'll go through the script in a second, right? I recommend if you're brand new to the platform, probably just use these settings and then create your first video, right? Let's say that, you want to use something, more advanced. So here, I'm not going to dive too deep into this because we have other resources on this, but essentially just think of this as a way for AI to edit your video for you. So I'm sure everyone has seen the videos online where there's, panning, zooming, swiping, things like that. That's what this does here, right? And you can adjust the pacing, the sound effects volume, but for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to turn that off just to keep it really simple for you guys. So here, right? And then we have the script. Like I talked about, our voice right here, Val, is going to read over the script word for word. So you can see here, the child's laughter echoed through the empty playground, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So this is a more kind of creepy script, right? And that's why we chose horror film, creepy font, right? So you can kind of see as I'm talking about these things, you're able to select parameters and kind of adjust according to your script. So obviously in my mind, I already knew the script I had here because I pasted it in. But for you, maybe you want to do like an anime style, right? Or maybe you want to do, something about your astrology sign. You probably wouldn't use like horror film, right? You might use something else, right? So we have different styles, right? Whether it's, kind of more masculine leaning, whether it's more kind of feminine leaning, like we've kind of implemented those so that we can kind of support everyone. Cause that's one thing, we got feedback on, which is that we kind of need, there's too many styles that are, focused on males. And like, I was like, okay, we get it. Like we want to kind of implement some more stuff to kind of let, other people use it. So little thing there. And then from there, right, we have all our parameters. We're going to hit create video. So as you can see here, it's in the queue. It's processing right here. If you are newer to the platform, you probably wouldn't recognize this, but if you've been using it, you've noticed that there's no longer the view details button. There's the edit video button, and that's going to take us into studio, right? So right now the video is out of the queue. It's going to go into processing. This is your videos page where all your videos are located. And you can notice here, you have the loading bar. Obviously it's going to generate. Now, while that video is generating, I would love, from Frank or Brennan, if there's anything you guys kind of want to add, to the video creation process, anything you've noticed that, users have been using that's been, benefiting them or helping them kind of get to this point of kind of having their first video.
Yeah, Frank, would you like me to go first?
Yeah, go right ahead. And we saw a question before we begin. Susan's asking, so when will Studio be available? And the answer to that is as of this morning. So feel free to go in, check out Studio, make sure it fits your needs. And again, we are collecting feedback. That little bottom right, please give us any feedback. We are listening to it. We are running it right now. So yeah, that's the answer. Studio is available. It's live.
It is live. Yeah, quick shout out. What's going on, Larry? Welcome in, brother. Good to see you. Brennan, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we soft launched it this morning. So we'll do an official announcement through email and through all the appropriate channels and everything of that nature. But we soft launched it this morning to get it out there and get the people that are coming back every day to get in there and just use it and start playing around with it. There are also 2 help articles for Studio. So you can go into the help section or just ask the intercom bot and it will pull up the help articles for you and you can see those. So to answer your question though, Cole, so one thing that I really see people doing more and more of is using the scriptwriter GPT. That GPT is incredibly valuable. A lot of people have this limiting factor of the actual copywriting aspect. Not everybody is gifted in the copywriting field, but they have this level of creativity where they can kind of guide something. And that's where the script writing GPT is just so powerful, because it's not just like going to ChatGPT and being like, hey, your task is to write me a short form video script for a YouTube short. It's got so much data on exactly what it needs, exactly what OSSA needs in order to produce a proper video, which is a voiceover style script. Effectively, if you were going to hire a voiceover actor, and you would give them a word for word verbatim script to read out loud, and OSSA works the exact same way. And so the scriptwriter GPT is dialed in for that aspect. And a lot of people use it. They get their initial input back, and then they adjust it just a little bit to make it maybe sound a little bit more human, or change, a line or two. But that is, from my perspective, the best way to go into creating content with OSSA. And the reason I say that is because it just makes it so much simpler. I mean, it's just so much easier to go in and generate that script, make some fine tunes to it, slam it in, and then take it into the studio after it produces. But yeah, the images is another thing. With the speed of images, people are going to notice inside Studio when you're generating images. I guess the users never saw it when it was slower, because we've had Studio in almost ready for production for quite some time now, and we've been testing it internally. And images used to generate slower in here, and now with like Frank said, with Flux and you state of the art image generation, and so the images are coming back in a really, really quick time, and it's just everything across the board, user experience wise, is improving, and that's what users are telling us, is make this better, make that better. But to come back to your initial question, the number one thing I see people doing is creating more, and that's exactly what we want as a company. We see people creating more content, and that is what makes us. That's what drives us every day. People are creating content. That's why we built it. Like, create more content.
Exactly.
We love that, you know?
So
that's what I see.
The best part of rolling this out as well is, we have the concept of an allowance, right? We don't want people to be worried about how many credits and all this sort of thing. It's like, we give allowances for you to be able to edit the videos, edit the images. So that way it's fine tuned exactly to like how you want it. So please feel free to use it, play around with it. Give us any feedback you want. But yeah, we do have an allowance so that you can feel free to create more images.
Yep, absolutely. And just so everybody knows, this video finished a couple minutes ago, and this is, in our main environment that all you guys are accessing. So you're going to notice, we'll see how much, because a lot of people are using the platform right now, but you might notice it might be a little bit more snappy. So there's a highish probability that video generation should be speeding up, especially over the next couple months. But I want to show off the video here. I think I'm gonna have to reshare screen just to make sure that audio is present. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Here we go. I'm gonna have to share my tab, and then I'm gonna go ahead and play this video. So I want everyone to understand that this entire video was generated with those couple parameters that I was just using on the create page. That's it. That's it.
The child's laughter echoed through the empty playground, a discordant symphony of glee and malice. As I turned, I saw her a porcelain doll, eyes vacant, mouth a gaping wound. Tilted her head, her voice a chilling rasp. Wanna play hide and seek? You'll be it forever.
So that's pretty good.
It's great.
Porcelain dolls. No.
You're not a big porcelain doll guy. But yeah, as you can see here, just kind of showing you guys. So that's the final video, right? And maybe you're looking at that. You're someone in here right now, and you're like, that video is insane. But because of how I specifically want things, I want it to be just a little bit different. I want to change that one image, right? And you can see here, like I said, here's the details page and how we got here, right? Let me just show you how to get into Studio. So here, like I said, is our videos. As you can see, this is the one that completed. So we can go here and edit video. This is how you access the Studio. And when accessing the Studio, you want to go to your individual video that you'd want to adjust, right? Or you'd want to, change to fit your liking, and you want to say edit video. Then in here, as you can see, you have subtitles and images, right? For the OSSA Studio Beta. So for subtitles, very, very straightforward in terms of what you can do here. So let's say that maybe you wanted to spell something differently. Maybe you wanted to remove, something. You can basically just come in here. We want to keep it really simple and adjust this, right? And then here is where you create your video. Now, one thing to note here, and I also mentioned this in the tutorial, is that if you remove a word, right, you're not going to be able to actually generate the video. So making sure that you can change the word to whatever you want, but it can't be empty. And you'll notice that because you're not going to be able to press this button, right? So this is obviously the simpler side, right? Just the subtitles. But this is where the magic happens. So if we come into images, this is what I really am looking forward to showing you guys, and we've been looking forward to. So here, as you can see, everything is segmented in scenes, and I probably should have mentioned that. So let me backtrack a little bit. So we have scenes, right? So scene 1, 2, 3, 4. pretty easy to pick up visually, I assume, for everyone who's in the audience right now. But essentially what we've done is we've taken your script and what you've put as your custom inputs, and then the video gets generated. Everything's absolutely unique. So we don't have, you know, some database we're pulling from like some of the other companies, and no stock footage, none of that, right? And then you can see here it's broken down into scenes. So as you can see, these are the actual subtitles associated with each scene. The children's the child's laughter echoed through, right? And if we come over here, this image is associated with this scene. And as you can see here, you can look at the scene subtitles, right? So it gives you a really, really easy way to have context to, okay, what's being said here, you know, by the voice, which if you remember, it was Val, right? And then also, what is the image associated, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of go through these images, and then Brennan or Frank, either of you guys, right? Because I don't want to be biased. Let me know kind of which one you guys want me to change. So we have this one, right? We have this third one, fourth scene, and then we have the fifth one. This one's really good. That one's creepy.
That one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Seventh,
no.
eighth one, ninth one.
I like the
And then-
playground one or the clock. I think scene 2 was it? The playground.
3.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe to include a little bit more of a playground. It's a little dark on my screen. I can't see any playground in there.
Okay,
Right,
okay.
right.
Because the scene subtitles for context are the empty playground,
Okay.
discordant.
So we have it's definitely darker because it's in that horror film style. So we have some playground here, but you're basically saying like a playground that's more a little easier to see, maybe, or just kind of more centered.
Maybe a
Mhm.
playground that has like a more vibrant color, like slide or something that you can like visibly see, or like a swing set.
How about like
An empty playground with a swing set in the foreground.
I don't know how to spell that that word. Hold on. Maybe we could do something like this. Like a creepy.
This is the best thing, is you can play around with it. Also, you'll see in the top right when Cole switches from subtitles to images, there's a notification that comes up that says you have X amount of free image creations left in your plan. So every plan has image creations included in the plan for free. So for creator, it's 200 image creations. For starter, it's 75. For membership, it's 10. So those are image creations that are included in your plan. And you can create images without deducting credits. Now, obviously, the higher the plan, the more that you get on a monthly basis.
Mm-hmm.
One thing to consider is after you run out of those image creations, it's only 20 credits per image. So, but you have a lot of runway there to play with.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, great shout there. Okay, so we can see here, right, a creepy porcelain doll standing on top, or standing at the top of a slide at a playground, right? I'll say a playground slide. And this is the thing, is you might be watching this and being like, what's the perfect way to actually create an image, right? What is a prompt? And the beautiful thing about the models that we've implemented is that they understand natural language really well. And I'll probably show some other, you know, images and some things that are not related to the actual script, just to give you guys an idea of like what it looks like, you know, just mess with some prompts. But the best thing I could tell you is that being very literal and just like you're basically describing exactly what you want, that's the best way to do it. So you can see here, I just say a creepy porcelain doll standing at the top of a playground slide at a playground, right? Pretty literal, pretty straightforward. So from there, right, this image, right, scene 2, the empty playground, a discordant, this is the one we're going to be changing. So go ahead and hit create image. And then from there, it's going to go into the queue. You can see we obviously get, and there we go. I didn't even get the chance to tell you guys the actual pop-up yet, but check it out, right? Creepy doll standing at the top of playground slide, right? Boom. So this lays down the foundation really well for, okay, so we go here, right? And the children's laughter echoed through, right? So the reason I like this personally is because it kind of hints at what's coming later in the script, right? Because it shows that doll. People might see the doll and be like, wait, like, why is there a doll there? And then as we come here, it talks about, as I turned, I see the doll, right? So obviously that's what I like, but maybe you don't. And that's the beauty of it, is you can come in here and change it to whatever you want. Maybe you totally disagree with me. Maybe you think my idea is really bad and it makes no sense. That's totally fine. Go and generate a video and change it. So
Yep.
That's a quick overview. In terms of kind of the limitations of kind of what you can do inside of Studio for images, that's, you know, some things will probably come up about that. something that is really cool about what we've done in terms of these updated models is that we can actually do text, which is really, really impressive, because if you've been in the AI space for a while, you know that image generation models have been really, really bad with text. So maybe that's something I'll show off real quick. Let's see if I can do this.
Yeah, just preface it with I mean, image models are not language models, okay? So a lot of the time it is good about the text, but it may take you 2 or 3 image creations to get the perfect
Of course.
text that you're looking for, just for people, like just for expectations. Yeah. But it is pretty insane. And typically you want to keep the characters down. I mean, you don't want to say like, go to this crazy, put on a sign, go to this crazy long domain and vote for me for this thing. It's like, a short piece of text. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
definitely shorter text, right? This is a good example. One thing that I've noticed, because I know James is watching this in his community, and I know he was asking me kind of about text and kind of elaborating on some of this prompt stuff. One strategy that I've found, and I know our users are going to find lots of really great prompting strategies, right? Is that saying that wherever you want the text, right? Saying the exact text and then putting it in quotes and then putting it in caps. That seems to typically work really, really well, right, with the models. So just kind of a side note there. But here we go. Creepy porcelain doll holding a sign that says the exact text creepy. And as you can see.
Yeah, no. All right, guys, I gotta log out. Like, look at this, guys. Like, this is so incredible. Like, even I'm shocked that, oh man, like this is
coming for you, brother.
This is rough. This is rough.
He's red in the face. That's funny. Yeah, incredible. I mean, and you can elaborate on it also. That's just like your base, and now you can add more details to the scene. And a lot of like really good rule of thumb also is if you're not like if you think your prompt is really good and your first image generation didn't come out exactly how you wanted it, you can always hit the create image button again and just rerun that same thing. So yeah, but just incredible.
No, absolutely. And really you can see here again. Hi, Frank. How you like that one, bro? So from here, right, you're probably like, okay, well, guys, it cannot be that easy, right? It can't be that easy. So what do I do next? There must be so many more complicated steps, right? Nope. All you have to do is hit create video, right? So we have that image change, and then we go here, hit create video. And then from there, once again, we go back to our very simple and easy and accessible videos page. You can see here, it actually skips to the end because we don't need to process the entire video again, right? It's not being made completely from scratch. So obviously we want to kind of get you in front of the line and kind of skip the rest of the people, get you your video as soon as possible. So this should typically be done in under 60 seconds. Obviously depends on how many people are using it. My assumption is that a lot of people are using it right now. We were kind of looking at some of the usage earlier, and it was definitely a big spike. So that's awesome. But as you can see here, video comes into processing, and once it's done, you go ahead and open it up, and let's take a look.
The child's laughter echoed through the empty playground.
There's that image.
A discordant symphony of glee
and I don't believe we changed anything else, so the rest of the video is the same. So really that simple. I mean,
two things I would just touch on here. One is if you open Backup Studio for me really quick. So I don't know if you showed changing subtitles either, but you can go in here and change subtitles. I think that might be something that we skipped over. But as you go through the scenes, if you click on an individual piece of text, it will populate in the preview side, the preview on the right side, and you can change out that text. It won't change the voice, but it will change the actual subtitles. Now, this is really useful if you happen to have a domain or something and your domain is wrong in the subtitles. You can come in here and easily just swap out the text that shows on screen with the right domain. The other thing is, if you're coming in here and you're not generating images, to recreate or create the video, like re-render the video or edit any text or subtitles, there's no credit charge. There's no credit fee associated with it. So that's also really important to note. The only thing that has any credit associated to it is images. And for creator plan users, which most of you are creator plan users because you're actually uploading content and trying to really grow on social media, and that's the best plan for that. For creator plan users, you get 200 image creations included in your plan, which is more than the average person is going to use based on our internal testing. If we see that go up, we'll look at increasing that because we want it to be the best possible experience for users. So but after the 200, it just goes to 20 credits, which is very minimal.
Literally nothing. And yeah, another thing, good, I'm happy you mentioned that, because a lot of people were asking, like, that was a big thing that Brennan noticed in our live stream probably 2 or 3 weeks ago when we kind of started hinting at studio is, yeah, how much is all this cost? And just to make it very, very clear, what Brennan just said is that if you change the subtitles, maybe something might be spelled wrong, right? Because AI is not perfect. You can hop in here, change it, and then hit create video. That will cost you a total of 0 credits, right? But if you come in here and you create images, right? Depending on your plan, you have a certain allocated amount. I believe for creator, it's 200 every single month that you get for absolutely free, included, right? So it's included in your plan, 200 a month. And then for starter, you get 75 image creations included. And then even on membership, you get 10. So we're even giving out some sauce to the membership users so that you guys can test this out as well. And that will be on a monthly basis. So obviously that's going to reset every month. Obviously, because we want to give you guys, we don't want anyone to not test this out, right, and get a chance to use it. So that's kind of why we have it in there. We want to take care of you guys. Couple of things I kind of want to touch on now that we've kind of gone through studio. I know that was like super quick, but it's really not that complex. I see a question here. Is there anything on your roadmap that would let us use our own voice over script rather than AI voice, and you would just put the images of the script in the recording? I would say, if I understand your question right, yes, we do have something in the future coming where you can actually clone your own voice. To be super clear, we don't plan to really, because it's something that kind of is coming to my mind as a result of you asking that. Just to be clear, we don't really plan to have anything where you can bring your own assets for now, because I know you kind of with the images. But in terms of like your voice, absolutely. So we are going to be implementing a feature in the future where you can just clone your voice within the website, and then within the drop down here, right, it would show up, and then you can grab it and just go ahead and use it, right? So that's been asked a lot. And then a couple things I kind of want to, talk about is kind of pivoting back to when we first, started this conversation, was kind of where we headed, right? Like where's OSSA headed? And I think where we're headed is that the studio is going to be a playground for everyone. And what I mean by that is that it's going to unlock your creativity and your ability to edit a video in a simpler way than it's ever been, right? Because if you can kind of visualize what we can add onto this, right, and the features we can add, because everything's it's broken down so simply, you're going to be able to essentially over time edit, right, sections of your video very simply, just using natural language, right? Just like we are here with the images, right? Using natural language, just like right here, right? Changing your subtitles. So this right here, this space over the next, who knows how long, maybe 6 to 12 months, this will start to fill out. And then over time, you're going to be able to change almost any aspect of your video, right? Because I know there's probably some things that people are already thinking about, okay, this is insane, but I also can't wait for this. And yes, my answer to that is that's also coming. So super excited. And yeah, I mean, that's really it for the demo. I don't know if you guys have, anything else to add.
No, I would say we're just super excited to deliver this to the community. We're incredibly excited to put out a feature that changes the level of creativity and creative input that users have so tremendously. And so just thank you everybody for your support, and we're going to continue to deliver features that really change the landscape, and we're going to continue to push the boundaries in this space. As many of you know, we're in a category of 1 here with what we're doing and the problems that we're actively solving on a daily basis, and that's not going to change anytime soon. We're going to maintain a category of 1. We're going to continue to push forward, innovate, and see a lot of other companies start to take inspiration from what we're doing, because what we're doing is so out of the box, and it's just not traditional to the rest of the space, And so because of that, thank you to everyone that trusts us. I mean, we have, like we were saying earlier, over 85,000, encroaching on 100,000 users in 6 months. I mean, that's crazy. That's for a company that's bootstrapped, no outside funding, a very small team of what is it now, 7, 8 people, which it's growing constantly. We're consistently bringing new people on the team. We're growing fast. For us to have already achieved this, there's only 2 reasons that could happen. 1, the product is good and people like using it. And 2, people believe in the vision of the company and the problems that we're solving. And so thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So well said. Frank, you got anything else?
No, some closing thoughts. It's again, we're very excited for this release of this product. It is very different from what you're used to. Please kick out the tires and make sure everything is good on it, and give us any feedback. Again, we're continually improving this to give the power for anyone to be able to tell their story in short form, maybe in long form in the future. But we're like super excited. And again, I'm running on like a couple hours of sleep. My brain is fried, my eyes hurt, but that demo was great. Like, so we're very excited with the product, and we're working hard for you guys, for the users. So again, very excited. We're going to keep continually upgrade this. The new stuff comes up, and we're going to try to implement it as quickly as possible. So we're very excited, and that's it from my side.
Yeah, and closing thoughts on my end. All I would say is that, I was making a joke earlier. There's some companies kind of, taking inspiration from us and quite literally kind of just in a way copying our product. And it's like, our thing is we're just always going to innovate. And there's massive companies that are totally taking inspiration from us. And all I could say is that I'm just really excited for what else is coming in the future, because this is obviously our biggest feature yet. But in terms of what we have coming, we are already in a category of one, because we're the only company in the world that actually has physical proof of people with zero experience being able to use a tool and become content creators. This is the first ever in history, just to be like very, very clear. No one's ever solved this. Not even companies that are worth $300 million are solving this problem. They're solving the problem of an AI video that has stock footage and is boring and gets no engagement. And then people use it, and then they're like, wait, it doesn't work. And it's like, yeah, because they're not content creators. They're tech guys, right? So we have both. That's what I'm saying. We have both, and we're going to keep innovating, and the team's growing. And for anybody who's watching this that, plans to try and continue to take inspiration from us, I encourage you to continue doing so. But we're always going to listen to our users and build products that actually solve real problems. And that's our promise to you guys, is that we're not going to go down this route of building these gimmicky tools that have no use case for creators, because we come from a creator background. So we actually know what is needed, right? What the intersection is to actually provide you value so that you can achieve results, like a James Ward in our community, who's making $1,500 a month off of TikTok from strictly OSSA videos. That's never been done in the history of content creation. And that's what we're doing. So thank you guys so much for coming. And yeah, appreciate you guys hopping on, Brennan, Frank.
Yeah, of course. Glad to be here. Thanks everybody for tuning in and listening to what we have, and go try out Studio, go play around with it. Appreciate everybody.
It's
Thanks.
live. Let's go.
Have a great day.
Guys.
Peace.
All right, guys.